Hi everybody, Karis here, and I am in beautiful Sedona. It's summertime, June, early part of June, the 9th I think is today. And this video is going to be about an event I'm doing on the solstice, which is the longest day of the year. It's supposed to be something like 18 hours of sunlight this year, which I'm very excited about. And it's going to be in Los Angeles. And the event is going to be women only. It's a goddess-oriented, divine feminine event. And it's going to be a brunch on the solstice from 10 to 1 in Redondo Beach about oracle cards and divination. And before I show you the decks that I'm going to be bringing, which if you are familiar with my work, you've probably already seen them because I've worked with them a lot, what I would like to talk to you about is how oracle cards work. So, kind of like the way that astrology and other various forms of divination work, it's not that these things make anything happen. They don't at all. It's just that they're a barometer to judge subtle energies. So it's kind of like if you have a compass, you can't see the lines of electromagnetic gravity and magnetism and stuff that make the compass go. But you can look at the compass and see which way north is. The compass doesn't make north, you know, and you can't see the lines, but you can kind of see what's going on, and then you can choose how to navigate. And so oracle cards, the way that they work, and really you can do this with anything. There are a bunch of divination methods that you don't need any equipment to do. You could just, one of them is just to close your eyes, go to your front door. Well, probably go to your front door and then close your eyes. You don't want anything on the way. And ask a question, open up your front door and look outside, and the first thing your eye lands on will somehow be the answer to that question. And then, of course, interpretation is key, because pretty much the universe is always telling you all the information that you need, but interpretation is what can get you in trouble. It's what makes things accurate or inaccurate. Okay, so the way the oracle cards work is that they are made with a system depending on the type that you use. Some of them are tarot, and that's a whole system that comes down from an ancient tradition. And some of them are oracle cards, which are sometimes taken from tarot, sometimes aren't at all. Sometimes are just at the intuitive whim of the person who makes them. Doesn't mean they're any less accurate, because remember, the universe always tells you whatever it is that you need to know. So the way that you use them is pretty similar. You ask a question, or you just want to know something about maybe what do I need to know today, or that kind of thing, and then you shuffle, and then you draw the card, and then you get to interpret it. So what we're going to be doing at this workshop on the 21st is that we're going to be first consecrating our decks, renewing the consecration. And when I say that, I mean setting intentions into the physical matter of the tarot or the oracle decks. And there are certain ways you can do that. You know, you run energy through them, you set intentions. It's really an easy thing to do, and you could figure out how to do it yourself. All the things I teach, you can always figure out how to do it yourself. It's just that I've been doing it for a long time, so I've kind of circumvented some of the possible roadblocks and stuff, and can give it to you more straight than it might take you to do all the research and find out. So we'll consecrate the decks, and then once they're recharged up with all this energy on the amazing summer solstice, we will start using them and pull a couple cards, ask about the remainder of the year, ask about indicators for us for the remainder of the year. And since the solstice is the highest point of sun energy coming down onto our planet for the year, there's an amazing wealth of free energy. It's like a perfect resource that we can use to set these amazing intentions. And since the workshop goes from 10 to 1, that means that we'll be there at noon, which is the absolute highest time, and that's when we really set the intentions and send them out. And when you set intentions, they happen. And there are ways that they might not. Maybe the universe has a better thing for you in mind, but there are certain loopholes you can use to get around that. And secondly, they might not happen if you have a lot of resistance to them. And, you know, not thinking you're deserving enough, maybe being afraid of what will happen if you make the changes that would give you what you're asking for, that kind of thing. So we'll circumnavigate that stuff too. So that's the idea. And you can bring as many tarot or oracle decks as you want. If I were you, I'd bring your favorite ones. And so my two favorites that I use often, this first one is the tarot deck that I use, and it's called the Tarot Illuminati deck, and it's made by Eric Dunn and Kim Huggins, and I find it to be highly, highly accurate. I love this thing, and it's beautiful. It's got gold leaf on it, of course. So let me pull a little card and see what to tell you guys about. And also we'll go over like methods of shuffling, because you don't shuffle oracle cards the way that you necessarily shuffle like playing cards which did come from tarot cards, by the way. And if you know how to read them correctly, you could just read a normal deck of playing cards the way that you read tarot cards. You get the same information. Remember, the universe is always telling you exactly what you need to know. All right, I usually shuffle mine 3 times. Curious, so what should we all know about this workshop? And I'll also pull one from my other Oracle deck, too. But, all right, let's see. The Five of Swords. Ooh, I know this one. See, I'm still learning this, so. The Five of Swords, I just pulled this card yesterday, actually. I love this card because one of the things about the tarot is that it's an old tradition, and so it's existed in the old paradigm of war, fight, struggle, pain, pleasure, duality, that kind of thing. And so since what I, and I'm assuming you guys watching this, are trying to do is ground in a new paradigm of no more war, it's just experience, and rather than having the catalyst to growth being something that you want to get away from or something you want to achieve to stop some kind of pain, it's just seeing how much awesomeness we can create just to do it, and also really creating here in 3D, not just studying, not just proselytizing, not just talking about what a good world would be, but actually learning methods to really seriously bring it here in this dimension. And so this card I love, because in the old paradigm of tarot reading, this card was about getting away with something, or about not being super honest or whatever. But when I look at it, this guy is not sneaking away. He's just calmly walking away, and the 2 men or women, I don't know who they are, I'm assuming they're men, behind him, look, their faces and their heads are covered. So when I look at that, I see old paradigm, and they look like they're sorrowing or despairing. And there are 2 of them, and he's stepping on 2 swords. And the swords he's stepping on look like they're for war. They look like they're for fighting. But then the swords that he's holding don't look like they're for war. They look like they're for art. And even the ones he's stepping on are all kind of like crooked and darker, and the ones he's holding are bright and decorated and not meant for fighting. And what I kind of feel like is that he offered those swords to the people behind him to say, come with me to this new thing, and they didn't want to go because they're kind of stuck in their despair. And so he's walking away, and his face is turned toward the light source that's lighting him up, which is different than what's on the horizon, because it looks like the sun's going down, but it looks like there's a new light source up ahead that he's walking toward. And he's holding his sword in his, his right hand, and the 2 other swords in his left hand. So when I look at this card, I don't see getting away with something. I see choosing to go toward a new future, and doing so calmly and with faith, and having clear eyes to see, because those guys behind him, their faces are covered. I like this card. So that's convenient that I drew a card that I actually knew what it meant, because like I said, I'm learning this too. Oh, and I'll put the link down below to a class I'm currently teaching on the internet. It's going very slow, very relaxed, and who knows how long it'll be. It doesn't have set dates, that it's learning tarot together. So we're all kind of doing it at the same time. Okay, and so this is my, these are my 2 other card decks, and I've combined them. They're the Goddesses and Sirens and Gods and Titans decks. They're by Stacey DeMarco, illustrations by Jimmy Manton. And what I like to do with these, I haven't pulled these in a while because I've kind of been all about my tarot cards, because I like to really get immersed in stuff when it's new, and then once I've understood it, then I come back out and regain balance and use all of them again. But that means that the last time I pulled these was, I think, on the equinox? No. It's been since then. Maybe a new moon or something, I don't know. But what I like to do when I pull these, since it's 2 card decks combined into one, the feminine side, goddesses, and the masculine side, gods, what I like to do is pull one of each, so I can see the feminine, what we're receiving, and the masculine, what we're giving. So for this workshop, or just for you guys watching this, what do we need to know? All right, so we've got a receiving card and a giving card. Okay, so the receiving card is Valkyries, Redemption. This again speaks new paradigm to me. So the Valkyries were angels of the battlefield in Greek mythology. They would come to fallen soldiers when they were all confused and gnarly on the battlefield right after they died and they'd been popped out of their body. And this still happens, by the way. I've done readings for people whose relatives are battlefield angels. It's it's fascinating. Because when you die in a traumatic way, you often are pretty confused, and that's how hauntings can happen, and that's how people can kind of get lost along the road of moving through the dimensions after their physical body is gone. And so the Valkyries came and were talking to these wretched soldiers and kind of saved them and took them to the next place, which was I'm sorry, it's not Greek tradition, it's Norse tradition. They would take them to Valhalla, which is kind of the soldier heaven, and they just got to play at battle all day long. So what I see when I read this is that we're receiving redemption, which to me talks about the new paradigm. No more good and evil. We don't have to feel guilty about stuff we've done, that kind of thing. And then what we're giving, ooh, interesting, hypnos, sleep. These are one of the cards that I am not that familiar with. Like, I know he's the god of sleep, and I know when I look at him, it looks like rejuvenation. So what I'm gonna kind of assume before I flip to the actual definition here, or the description rather, is that what we're giving is a period of renewal before this new paradigm that we're activating really comes. Okay, so let's see. Being aware and spiritually awake is vital to developing our highest potential. Allowing full rest is vital to self-care. So, let's see. You can always call upon hypnos to assist you in times where stress, study, worry, or insomnia have robbed you of your sleep. Oh, you can actually call on him in anesthesia when you're getting surgery. That's interesting. Hypnos is generally seen as a benevolent and relief-inducing deity and is honored for his place in well-being and health. Hera once bribed him to practice his arts on Zeus so that he could torment the hero Heracles, but this was about as rebellious as Hypnos gets. Our world is busier than ever, and sometimes getting a decent night's sleep can be difficult. Yeah, you can always call upon him to assist you when you need sleep. So I don't really understand what this means, but sometimes that's what happens. Let's see. It's obviously nighttime. There's a full moon. He's on the roof. You know, the full moon is the height of the moon, and will be at the height of the sun, which is fascinating. But you know what you can also do when you don't understand is pull another card. Because you can say, can I get a little bit more detail on this? And so now I'm not going to decide whether or not it's a masculine or a feminine card. I'm just going to pull one from the deck and assume that it will give us some clarity. This is real time, guys. This is how it goes. Okay. That's a feminine card. Oh, okay, yeah. Shilinagi, gateways. She's one of the ancient goddesses on all, like, the really old Celtic mounds. You usually see her over gateways, and she is in a really interesting posture where she is actually, her yoni is actually on display, because that's, like, the original gateway, right? The female birth canal, where we all come from, literally. So, I think that what this is saying is that the gateway is the rest period. Which is nice, because it's the summer solstice, the highest time of activity of solar energy of the year. So that makes me kind of relieved, especially with this crazy Mercury retrograde going on right now. So yeah, the idea is that we're going into a new paradigm, taking new tools made for art, not war. And that's one thing is, when you choose to make a shift like this, you can't force everyone to come, because that's tyranny. So you can't say everybody has to come. What you can do, and what I and my peeps who are doing this together consciously are choosing to do, is to go ahead and go and leave behind the people who don't want to come. But it's not like we're shutting any doors against them. Anybody can come whenever they want to into the place of no more war, no more struggle, and that's all inner, and then it will reflect outer. I know some of you guys might be thinking, but there is still war in the world, and, well, it has to start somewhere. So the idea is kind of be this beacon, and then it keeps going. And what we do is we leave behind all of these tools and tricks and advice and the way that we did it. And so someone might do that way, or they might do it a different way. But the idea is to not force anybody to do anything, but to welcome everybody as soon as two conditions are met. One, they want to come. And two, you can be responsible for your own energy the way that you're affecting the collective. So that's the idea. So gateway to that, rest to get there, rejuvenation, and releasing yourself from old paradigms of war and peace and punishment and reward and blah, 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 blah. So I will put the link down below to register for this workshop. I'm really excited about it. Like I said, it's on June 21st. It's going to be in Redondo Beach, California. There's also going to be a light brunch there, so we're going to have lots of yummy goodies. And it's for women only, this one. And let's see what else. I've got the tarot class going on. I've got the Live Your Life Purpose class, which is going to be shut down registration in a couple days. So that starts on June 15th. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and hop on it soon. And that's all I have for you right now. There's a lot of new stuff coming up, different workshops that are coming up in the near months and stuff like that I'll tell you guys about when it gets a little bit more firmed up. And other than that, have a beautiful day. Enjoy this summer, those of you who are having summer. Those of you who are having any season, enjoy it. And much love, go in peace, and I will see you guys on the astrals.